Okay.
And let's see. Okay, everybody, welcome to our live stream session with I, the Victor. We're going to go ahead and get started here very, very briefly, but we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes just to make sure that they're getting here and warm up the crowd, I guess, a little bit. But anyway, let's see who is here right now. We got 19 folks already here. Wonderful. Sorry about the redirect, guys. The technology
on the market. Sorry.
Wait. Oh, the technology was acting a little bit weird, so it took me a second to figure this out. Oh, actually, we have like 57 here. All right. T-Panic at the Everything. Salma. This is my commenting channel. Ida. Maniac Reviews. Tara King. Tabby Ravenclaw. And so many others. Glad that you guys are here. Glad that you're excited, I'm assuming, to talk about I, the Victor, a.k.a. Rebecca. And I forgot your last name. What's your last name?
Ramos.
Say what?
Ramos. R-A-M-O-S. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, great. If anybody can't hear anything or technology, we have something going wrong, let me know. But I think we're ready to get going. Frollo Smith, there is your shout out. All right. So as some of you guys know, I, the Victor, is one of the artists that we on the Pop Song Professor channel have decided that like is create some really worthwhile stuff that we have gotten invested in, and we've wanted to be a part of what they're doing music making wise. And so actually Rebecca was willing to come on and talk about this. We did a live stream like this similarly a couple of months ago with 11D7, and we want to get to know Rebecca a little bit. So I've got a couple of different questions we'll be asking her, but you guys feel free to go ahead and leave questions in the chat. And Rebecca, you're welcome to skim the chat too if you want. You should be able to access the same link. And if you see a question that you want to answer, feel free to pause things and go for it. But I'll also be skimming it and looking out for anything that people have to say. Maniac Reviews says that hypotheticals slapped.
I saw that. Shout out to Maniac Reviews.
What a great compliment.
Yeah, that's great. Slaps. That's the word we're looking for.
Slaps. It's a bop. Yeah. I learned all of these things. These are words and phrases that I am not usually aware of until like my fans are talking about it. So, all right. So let's talk first about getting to know you a little bit. Who are you, Rebecca?
Who am I? Loaded question. No, my name is Rebecca, and I am from Atlanta. I started my music project called I, the Victor a couple years ago as I was like kind of wrapping up my time in college. And when I'm not writing music or making music or doing something I, the Victor related, I also really love graphic design. Graphic design is my passion. Have you seen that meme? Like
I haven't. No, I'm gonna look that up though.
Okay, it's pretty good. It's like usually accompanied by a really poorly designed image. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of, those are my two big passions. But yeah, that's me in like, what, 1 minute.
Okay, cool.
Not too crazy.
So that's all like good information. You're passionate about graphic design, you're passionate about I, the Victor, and thus music. But that's not like the nitty gritty. Like, what are when you're like world famous one day, what are the tabloids going to be saying about you? No, I'm just kidding. But like, you know, I don't know. Like, what do you do on an average day or something?
Yeah.
Tell us I don't know. What would your friends tell us about you?
Probably that I make this bagel every morning that has arugula, cheese, tomato, egg, everything bagel, and a little bit of like vegetarian sausage.
Okay.
That's probably something that would come up.
I was tracking until the tomato, but everything else sounds really good.
Fair enough.
Okay.
You don't like tomatoes?
Yeah, no, tomatoes are the worst. They're not so bad, but if you like make them into a tomato sauce, that's okay. But,
okay, gotcha. Yeah. Fair enough.
So if anybody wanted to get me a tomato for my birthday, don't. It won't work out well.
If you wanted to, don't do it.
Yeah. So are you currently in college, or is it post college, or because you're not in high school?
I'm not. I am not. I am out of college. I finished late in 2017, like in November of 2017. So I still feel like I just got out. It's still very new, but yeah, I'm having so much fun, and I was kind of killing myself. I was in art school, so it was an intense time, and I was also working full time and doing I the Victor. So it was a crazy few years. But
yeah, that sounds insane. That really does.
Yeah, all worthwhile though. It was a good
one. So let's see. Let me see if there's any good questions here, because mostly people are just talking about how tomatoes are terrible.
I mean, it's a controversial topic, I think. That's kind of my burden.
Is there any type of, oh yeah, there are, I looked at those memes. Those are absolutely wonderful.
They're so good.
What is a food you dislike? We've got to ask like these questions just to kind of like get everybody relaxed and having a good time.
We gotta relax. It's what is the food I dislike? Mushrooms. I hate mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to hate.
Yeah. Let me know in the chat if y'all like mushrooms or if I've said something controversial now. But, mushrooms and olives. Mushrooms.
Okay. Yep. Those are terrible too.
Yep.
This is great. Okay.
All right. So we agree. Hopefully there's
good.
Consensus. Somebody said I love tomatoes and mushrooms. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who love mushrooms. This isn't good. I can see the watch numbers are going down. Everybody's leaving really fast here.
Yeah. Okay. If I can tweet about liking it and just the link again and hopefully get the watchers up again.
Perfect. Okay. So we've asked some really tough, hard-hitting journalistic questions here. Yeah. What are your top 3 bands?
Top 3 bands.
Yep.
I have been loving a band called Hippocampus.
They're good.
Yeah. I obviously very much admire and look up to 21 Pilots. And a third band, or can it be an artist?
That can be an artist. For sure.
I've been listening to a lot of Maggie Rogers. Have you heard of her?
Wait, isn't she the person who plays Juliet in Psych?
I don't.
There might be 2 Maggie Rogers.
Yeah, there might be.
Oh, wait, no. There's an American musician, Maggie Rogers.
That's gotta be our girl. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It's kind of like, I don't know if folk is the right word, but there's like some folksy infused pop that she's got going on. I think it's just the coolest. So yeah. she's been constantly on my playlists. Yeah, I think those are the 3 big ones.
Okay. Now we had a lot of people asking just in the chat, like before I even asked that question, like, do you like 21 Pilots? And you've probably noticed, I think we've talked about it before, that my channel has a lot of 21 Pilots fans attached to it because, I'm a big fan, but that's not something that you can be like, oh, super exclusive. Have you heard of 21 Pilots anymore? Just because they've gotten so big. But I think that people might appreciate to know a little bit more about what you like about 21 Pilots.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny.
Or the kind of inspiration that you draw from them too. But
yeah, absolutely. So I found out about 21 Pilots through like my closest friend. We were just driving once, and I had like just shown her some of my songs, and she was just like, hey, I want to show you this band that I know about. I think they were like, it was like Bessel era. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they were quite as big. Obviously, I think they really blew up around like Blurry Face. So she was like, yeah, I don't think that many people know about them, whatever. And she showed me Holding On to You. And I had actually, like, this was like around the time that I was just finishing Toothpick. Like, I think we had like started rapping that song. I think I have my timeline correct there, but yeah. So I was like in the middle of like just like kind of dabbling into like some spoken word stuff, and I was just like blown away by that song. And then I just looked them up. I wanted to see how they were live, and it was like one of the Newport. I think it was Holding On to You at the Newport that came up, and I was just like blown away by them live. So it kind of just I think most people can relate to that. Like, I think you kind of get hooked on that band so fast, and then it was just like a rabbit hole. I really just, I loved Vessel, and I loved Blurry Face. Trench is amazing. But I think, like, more than like the music even, I'm really inspired by like their ethics. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but the way that they've handled like how their band has exploded, and like the way that they're very, I think, meticulous about, they're so humble, and they are really focused on their community, and not themselves. I think it's the most brilliant way of like going about running a band.
Yeah, they do a really good job of like, they're not just artists, but they're also leaders of the people who follow them, and they do a good job of, it's about the music. It's not about like, their personality comes into it, but it's not a lot of artists where their personal life keeps getting like tied up with celebrity gossip or whatever.
Right.
They very modest, I think, is probably another good word.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. But yeah, I think that's definitely what I've looked up to the very most, because I think that's kind of like the pinnacle of how like artistry can be, is like just focusing on the music, focusing on the community of it, and not having it be about like yourself so much. So yeah, that's cool. We're all violets.
Cool. That is good to know. And I'm sure that everybody appreciated getting to hear a little bit about that. I want to go ahead and actually, there was a good question in here. It came up a little while ago. And this is still kind of in the same like getting to know you vein. What are your favorite and least favorite instruments that you regularly play?
Guitar is my main instrument.
Yeah.
I love it. Nothing can trump it. I don't play the drums very well, at least. I can like hold a beat, but I'm definitely not a drummer by any measure. But I love the drums. They're so fun. I love putting them in songs. I love like the percussive elements that can kind of like, I love electronic drums. I love acoustic drums. So those are probably my two favorite instruments. I don't know if I have a least favorites. I'm not that good at the piano, and it's something I've like been frustrated by, because it's a fun instrument, but I don't know. I think I missed the boat. Maybe I'm making an excuse for myself, but I think I missed the boat a little bit on learning the piano, like getting real comfortable with all of the chords. I feel like there have been like periods where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like finally get real proficient, and it just hasn't happened yet. It will though. I'm gonna keep working on it. But yeah, it's not my least favorite. I love it. It's so beautiful, but I'm not very good at it. So it's been a point of frustration.
Okay. And I think it's really healthy and helpful for young songwriters to know that, like, even for you as somebody who has been writing music and has released singles and music videos and is really doing a great job, there are going to be things that are frustrating, and there are going to be things that you feel like you're doing a really good job at. So I'm glad to hear that you are not just some goddess-like musician who's got everything taken care of, because there wouldn't be much point to the interview.
No, not in the slightest.
Yeah. When did you start writing music? How did you get started? Salma actually asked that question. I thought that was a really good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Avril Lavigne saw her on TV. That sparked something. Not sure what it was about it, but I was just like so intrigued by her. But I think at that point I was like, I want to be a musician. I was like 9 or 10 or something. And my parents like got me one of those like first act little crappiest guitar you could ever. And I kind of learned a little bit. They kind of could afford like 3 or 4 guitar lessons. So I learned chords, and I had like somebody who would kind of like challenge me, like learn how to like play these chords and like kind of master your hands doing different things. So that was kind of the extent of like somebody teaching me guitar. And then I had those basics, and that kind of spiraled into me just loving the guitar and getting used to it on my own. And then from there, just playing the guitar, I think I naturally just started writing really, really bad songs. Couple like love songs, middle school style.
Yes.
The best. There are a couple on the internet, and I don't know where they are. I know they're around, but they are really bad.
How comfortable do you feel with giving people the information they need to be able to Google said songs?
I feel uncomfortable.
Fair enough. Fair enough. If you guys want to find those, you have to do it on your own.
That's right. Good luck. If you find it, I'm sorry, and hopefully my songs are better now. I actually would give the info, but I don't really know. I think they're on MySpace and somewhere on MySpace. So yeah, that's kind of how I started writing songs. I think I was like 13 or 14, kind of just dabbling in songwriting. I had like heard of this guy named Steven Jerzak, who was like writing really cool acoustic pop, and then Never Shout Never, a lot of like acoustic little band projects.
Wait, never say, wait, which Never was it?
Never Shout Never.
Never Shout Never. Who is that?
Like circa, I don't even know. Somebody knows.
That is. Oh, that's actually the band's name.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm looking in the chat too. I was like, what era that was, but I don't know. But yeah, those were kind of like some initial like influences. I think it was just seeing people like who were writing just acoustic songs and like they were able to tour, and they had like these like cool little like followings. So from there, I was kind of like, maybe I can actually do this. So yeah, it took me a while though, like to get I the Victor, like get like a passion for it, and then like know what direction. And by that time, like I said, this is a little bit towards the end of my college time. So there's been a lot of like growing and I think musical direction changed since then. But yeah, I think
that might be fun to jump into at some point here. Talk about that, but
I think even like with Pause, like the first EP that I have on Spotify, a lot of that is acoustic guitar mixed with a lot of other cool elements. And then I think going into now, it's a lot of like pop, electronic. There's definitely some guitar making its way back in, but yeah, it's definitely been like a progression into kind of what I've been listening to most recently. So
very cool. Very cool.
That's the full deal.
Blurry Nico asked a question that I kind of want to revise a little bit. Blurry Nico asked, did you ever perform in a talent show in high school or something? And I'm going to edit that question just a little bit to ask, did you ever, what was your first performance experience?
My first performance experience, I actually think it was at a talent show in high school. And I think I won like second place or something.
Nice.
It was a thrill, I tell you what. But it was actually, I think, playing one of those really bad songs. So I don't really view it as anything that special. But it was like my first time. Actually, you know what it was? It was, I played Firework by Katy Perry.
Whoa.
At this high school fashion show. That's what it was. Yeah, it was like a bunch of like, I don't know, we had like a fashion, I think, kind of club, maybe it was. And they were doing like this big like fashion show at the runway, and I played like the intermission, and I played Katy Perry Firework.
That is super cool. That is awesome. Oh shoot. I was going to follow up. You said that you won second place in your talent show.
Yeah.
And if I could learn anything from you, it would be how to get second place, because everything that I ever entered in high school, I always got third place. Like I would always place for the most part, but I would only ever get third place. So I entered a lot of like juggling video competitions, trying to get like free equipment or gift cards, and I always get third place.
Okay, fair enough.
It was rough,
if you can organize it that there's only one person better than you, that's really easy.
That is great advice.
Takes a little bit of planning on the front end, for sure.
So we have to get rid of one of the other two? Is that
exactly?
Oh wow! Okay, this got dark.
It did, but I'm just sharing what I know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. I'm trying to remember who the other people were. There's some guy who was amazing at the violin, you could not trump how good he was. And then somebody else who I think was like a comedian. So Also, there literally may have only been like 3 of us. Yeah, so.
Good thing you didn't get third then.
That's right.
From humble beginnings. Some people keep mentioning shoes in the chat, and it feels like it's maybe a reference. Abby Boucher asks, how many shoes have you stolen?
That's amazing.
Is that from lyrics that I'm just forgetting right now?
No, you're not. That is my dearest friend, and we live together. And she's put shoes in a lot of places, and I put them away. And that's the extent of that.
Gotcha. It's not the first time she's asked a question in this chat. Earlier, she asked, is there any reason that you steal everyone's shoes?
Okay.
And I don't see a lot of others. But Abby, shout out to you. And I'm sorry to hear that you're not able to keep track of your shoes. But I can't imagine that it's Rebecca's fault. She just seems like she's got it together. Thanks.
I appreciate that, Clifford. I would agree with you. Not trying to be biased, but yeah, I have a bit of like a cleanliness, like I can't have things like out of place or I can't focus. So it kind of, I think it makes me a little bit of a nightmare to like live with, unless you're also that way. Everything gets tucked away somewhere. But,
gotcha. Yeah, no, I can feel that too. You wouldn't know it by looking around my studio right now, but there's a reason that you can't see, like it cuts off like right there.
Yeah.
Actually, Selma asked another really good question. And then I want to start talking about your songs. Why did you choose I the Victor as the name?
Yeah, that is a great question. I wanted to have like, first of all, I've not ever really liked having my name on things. I'm not sure where that stems from. But I never like thought that I would write something and call it like go by Rebecca Ramos. I just didn't like feel right. I think I was also inspired by those other artists I was seeing who had like monikers, but it was a solo project. So that kind of got me thinking about different names. And then I wanted to have a name that like didn't like pigeonhole me, but like forced me to kind of like write from a little bit more of a positive lens. Cause I was, I think I first started it, and you can like hear it in the songs, but I was definitely in like a very like insecure and uncertain place. And I didn't want to write sad songs, but I wanted to write about like some heavier things. So I wanted to have like a name that kind of like forced me to like take a turn at whatever I was talking about, and still try to approach it from like a hopeful lens, even though some of the stuff is a little bit hopeless. I think some of the topics are for sure.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I like the acronym ITV, very catchy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I love it. That's like all I call it now.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your songs here. And the song that we definitely have to talk about is Hypotheticals, because that's the song that you released just like a month ago, and then you released a music video just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I know that I shared it with a lot of people on my channel and hope that they would go watch it. It looks like you are getting some views and some attention, though it obviously deserves a lot more than it is getting. But you want to tell us a little bit about it? Whatever you want to say about it, go for it.
For sure. That song was, it was kind of, I was listening to this band called Oso. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. I don't know. But they had like some really cool like outros to their songs. And I was like really kind of inspired by that. And at first I imagined that the bridge of Hypotheticals would be like an outro for the whole song, but it didn't end up being that way. But that kind of like got the ball rolling on Hypotheticals. Like I wanted to just have like this line that I could like repeat and just kind of like build around like that one line, and just like build the instrumentation around it. That way it gets more and more interesting as it goes. And also like thinking about it from a live perspective. Those are pretty easy like situations, lives, like get people like really into it. It's like you got one line and it just gets more hyped as like as it goes on. So that was kind of like the starting point. And then as far as like the lyrical content and what inspired the rest of it, I had like some changes, like I think on the business side of like my little band, and just some like personal relationship changes that I was going through. And I was kind of like in this like back and forth between feeling really good about certain decisions I was making, but also feeling like a jerk, kind of. Like, I don't know. I think it's hard to like make a good decision for yourself and know that you might be hurting somebody by making that decision. Or yeah, I think that's kind of like the space I was in. I was like feeling like I was doing the right thing in a lot of situations, but also feeling bad about like some of the aftermath of like those decisions. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's kind of how hypotheticals happened. And yeah, I think it was kind of like the mind running away from you kind of approach to the whole thing. Whereas like, I don't know, I think I was writing from a place where I was like, what if I make this decision and this person hates me forever? What if I make this decision and I actually like regret it and I'm gonna, whatever. So that's kind of how hypotheticals came to be.
Gotcha. And something I really respect about your writing style, as far as lyrics go, because I spent a lot of time teaching people how to write lyrics themselves, is I respect like how Hemingway-esque you can be sometimes, where you just say what you mean instead of trying to like dress it up or make it really fancy or make it super super vague or something like that. So like in verse 1, you say, hello, hi, hello, I couldn't help but just notice I put everyone I love out and claim that they all hurt my focus. And hi, I couldn't help but go to thinking I haven't slept well in 3 weeks. And you just get very specific and very real. And all of a sudden it's immediately something that we can identify with. You tell a great story there. And then, yeah, you do use the power of repetition as you get into the choruses. And it's become something that I think will be incredibly fun to sing along with, especially you get into the bridge. It really sounds like the bridge, you got some plans for that with repeating not even hypothetical ones a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. We haven't, we toured a lot early last year and into last summer. And it was a really interesting experience. And I had some extremely high highs and some really low lows. Yeah. And I think being away from it now, it's been we're approaching 6 months of not really touring. And I'm just so excited, hypotheticals in particular, to get to play it live, because I think it's going to be a blast. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, yeah. So just to sum that up, and then that's really cool. I think Hypotheticals is an awesome song, and I love just the frankness of it. And I think that's a really cool concept too. So, all right, what is the song you want to talk about?
Song I want to talk about.
And while you're thinking about that, I'll tell everybody else. Go ahead and comment a song that maybe you want me to ask her about, because we're gonna do one more after we talk about her song. So comment that, guys. Go.
I might say, I guess Tongue and Setter is probably a good one.
It is.
Thank you. What to say about Tongue and Setter? That song was just, it was a weird one. I think it comes out in the music and the instrumentation. There was just a lot of influence. I really wanted to dive into just kind of going super spoken word on it. And yeah, that's kind of that was the basis of the song at first. And then Daniel, who you met earlier, he's around here still, but
we can see him in the mirror. A couple of people.
Oh, yeah. He says hi. We actually sat with that song for I think close to 3 months, and just once we had a decent version of it, we played it live a bunch and figured out what else it needed or what we wanted it to have more of in certain elements, and we just tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. And I think that's why it is such a robust song. If you listen to that song with headphones, there's so much going on. So yeah, that's kind of just some of the mechanics of Tongue and Setter that I was super happy with. And I think I really like the chorus. I was just kind of approaching, it was my first song back after releasing more of an acoustic EP, and it had been a year since I released anything. So I was definitely feeling pretty nervous, and definitely about just like, what if I don't care about what people's opinions are and just go for what I feel like doing, or yeah. And that was like both musically and personally. So that's
yeah. And the chorus really discusses that well. True, what if I don't say that you're the only one for me? True, what if I don't safe to go and free to wander free? True, what if I don't foreign language middle summer? Hold me under lens and shudder. I'm picking up your tongue and stuttering.
yeah.
Which I've got to say, you do a really good job of observing, like, and maybe you can give us some insight into your process here as far as this goes. But you do a really good job of I guess bringing a lot of the spoken word influences into your writing. And so mechanically, you have a lot of sound correlations that are just like, sometimes they're subtly good and sometimes they're in your face good. But I particularly like these last 3 lines here. True, what if I don't? Foreign language middle summer, hold me under lens and shudder. I'm picking up your tongue and stuttering. And like, just, there's like a really good rhythm to that. That's awesome. So when you say to yourself, maybe you don't, maybe it just happens magically. But if you say to yourself, like, I want to write a line that's like really catchy and interesting, like stick in people's heads or has like a lot of sound correlations within it, what do you do?
That one was definitely, I could like go back on my phone and find like at least 5 to 10 different like just word vomit, I guess, of like what fits in that space. Cause I kind of knew what, I heard the melody, but I didn't know what I needed to say. So I think it was just like figuring out what words should be there and also like what the message was. And I think I knew I wanted it to be called Tongue and Stutter. So that was kind of easy. Like I'll finish with like that. And that for me was like, tongue is like just like learning a new language, really, of like not like trying not to be super reliant on people's opinions. So yeah, I knew I wanted to end that there, and I think it was just kind of playing with syllables and like visuals. Really, I think the like lens and shutter is something a lot of people like. I don't know, like put something in your head, like photos and like very. I don't know. I think it was just a mix of what visually can like spark something for somebody and what matches the theme of like traveling and like stumbling through like learning something foreign. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Well, super cool, super good work. We should talk about a third song, and I think that the only song suggestion I've seen so far is Spring Day by BTS. Since that's not one of your songs, thanks for the suggestion, A Lost Soul. But since that's not there, let's talk about one of my other favorite songs by you, and that's Toothpick, which you put out a while ago. Yeah. And so it might be interesting to talk a little bit about how you've changed as an artist since then. But yeah, what's up with Toothpick? And if you guys haven't listened to Toothpick, you 100% should.
Thank you.
As well as all of the songs, of course. But that was one of the ones when I first heard about you, I started like listening through your Spotify, and it was one that I kept coming back to again and again.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Toothpick, I had like those lyrics written first. And I didn't know what it needed to sound like. And then I kind of just started like, that was my first real like spoken word type thing. So I just kind of like with like just my guitar, instead of like playing chords or whatever, was just kind of like strumming, but like kind of like muted strumming, like a rhythm. And that's kind of like why the song starts the way it does, very just percussive and like spoken word. But that's kind of the whole basis. Everything else like kind of fell in from there. While we were in the studio, we kind of like figured out the, it was like the do part, try to like put like a telephone effect on that and like just kind of add some dynamic to what the song was doing. But yeah, I love how organic Toothpick is in a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of production stuff that we've been like going into recently, because I just love so many different styles of music and I want to try all of the things. But Toothpick is very like, it's piano, it's drums, there's some trumpet, there's bass, and there's vocal, and like that's kind of it. And I think that's like why it's kind of cool, is it's just like it's simple, but like it sounds really full. I think
it does.
Like, shines and like does its job in its own way. So yeah, Tuesday.
In verse 2 of that song, you say, "I'm V alone with you," which I like. I love the fact that you're keeping the, managing the rhythm by using text speech there. "I'm very alone with you now. I quit my job yesterday and I'm feeling low now. I'm feeling so scared, and it's weird because I've never ever felt more prepared." So does that have to do with kind of the inception of I the Victor?
A lot. Yeah. I was getting close to like transitioning out of college, or there was also like a switch between schools that I was in, and I stopped going to like a normal college, I guess, and I started going online, and I felt really like alone in a lot of ways, just because first of all, that was better for me because I was working and I was doing music, and I just didn't have time to like drive into school, and I didn't like need to. So it was the right thing, but I also I quit my like job that I was going and seeing people, and I like was working an online job with graphic design. So I was just alone all the time, and I still am alone a lot, but I think that was my first like real brush with like, I didn't have that many friends. Like a lot of the connection that I had to the world was just gone. And I had like my songs and I had my computer, and like, that was it. So, yeah, that's like, I think Couth Beck is a good I the Victor song because of like that moment where it's like, kind of like, this is all I got. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it's really cool, particularly that you would feel comfortable, sharing those lyrics and sharing that story, and delving into something that is real. And I know that we as the Lyricorns appreciate that.
That's right. The Lyricorns.
Yeah, that is us.
I love that. I love that. I saw it the other day. I think I saw the poll, and I'm realizing now that that's what we ended up with, which I really like.
Yep, that's our name, for better or for worse.
I love it.
And it's pretty great. Yeah, I don't remember who suggested it, but it was somebody from the community too. So they did it to themselves.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so let's talk secrets of songwriting here. Okay. We have a lot of songwriters not only watching us right now, but also people who will be watching this later. And I'm sure some people who follow you who probably want to learn a little bit more about songwriting. And so there's a few questions I want to ask here. But I think the first one is probably about the most difficult thing for a lot of songwriters. And it's, what do you do when you run into writer's block?
Yeah.
And what is writer's block to you?
Yeah, good question. I just listen to music, like weird music. I think like that's where I found the most inspiration, is like really eclectic music, and just trying not to force it at that point. It's like if I can't write something, if I do force myself, or I don't know, if you push it, I think it can be even more frustrating, because then you do write something and you're like, this isn't good, or this isn't what I want to say, this sucks, whatever. You can like really get in your head about it. So I think I've definitely been learning how to like not push it, or maybe just like placeholder things. Like if I have like a melody, but I don't know what the words are, or vice versa. Try not to push either one, and just like doing what you can to like get the ball rolling. But like the second like there's like resistance, or there's like nothing really coming to you, like maybe you can put that effort into like a different part of the song, or a different song in general, or a different activity, like in general, not music. Like walking away from your own music, maybe listening to somebody else's, listening to something you've never listened to before. And then, I think just like separating yourself from music in general is a good way to like kind of break out of like that writer's block thing. Cause I think it can be super like discouraging. And if you like stay in that space and you're like, I'm going to force myself to like get out of this, you're not giving yourself room to like be inspired by something else, like help you get your energy flowing. So I definitely don't have all the answers for it, but like those are a few things that I've done. Like, yeah, just like stopping, going for a run, or stopping and like watching something, watching The Office. That's what I do.
Nice.
If I'm not, doing music, or like, I'm like watching The Office.
That's the kind of stuff I was asking about at the beginning of the interview.
Right. And the bagel.
Yeah, the bagel in The Office. You go have a bagel, you go for a run, and you watch The Office.
You got it. That's me.
Gotcha. So that's some, I really appreciate that advice. I think that kind of stuff does work really well. Don't push yourself, don't stress out about it. And it sounds like you are very open when you feel writer's block to find inspiration in other places, whether it be The Office, whether it just be your mind while you live life and go for a run.
Yeah, for sure.
Or whether it be a part of the song that you're not stuck on. And guys, take notes on that, because that's good stuff.
Yeah, it is good stuff. It is.
Yeah. So what does the songwriting process look like for you overall? Now, I guess there's probably two ways I would assume you would start. Either you would say, hey, I had a song idea, let's go for it. Or you sit down, you're like, I'd like to write a song. I don't know what about yet. Let's figure it out. Which one is usually more you?
I think the best ones come out of nowhere. I have definitely sat down with a chorus, which is like usually where I face like the most frustration isn't the right word, but there's definitely like, sometimes I'll have like a chorus that I love and I just can't get a verse or like figure out what is like what's the message for the verses? Like, this is what the chorus has to say. What am I supposed to say? And I don't know. That's like been how I've been writing recently. It's very chorus first. And that kind of sucks for like the storytelling part of it, because I feel like that's the resolve. So if I've already got that, what am I supposed to say for the other parts? But
oh, and that's interesting too. So the verses tell the story, the chorus brings the resolution to it.
As of late.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I think I tend to write like really resolute choruses. Maybe just, I think, as a learned thing, because ITV is such a like ideally positive like so I think the choruses tend to be like a lot happier or more hopeful. So that it's sometimes hard to like go back and be like, where does this even fit in like in my life? So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I think it's like, I don't know, like, lyrics are usually first. Shower, I always write in the shower. I don't know why. I think it's because there's nothing else to do. Like, it's just like, you're there, your mind's not really, like, you're not trying. And I think that's like, that like, sometimes I'll just hum something, or like a line will like kind of come up, and then I can like go from there with it. But that's usually how it starts. Yeah.
Do you have any waterproof instruments?
My cell phone, I guess.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look something up real quick. Let's see. I think I'm wondering if, sorry, I didn't realize that by looking something up, all of a sudden I wouldn't be making noise. Okay, so they do have a water-resistant ukulele out there. And I feel like it's not a guitar, I know, but ukuleles, you've used ukuleles, right?
I have. I don't think we have in like a song particularly, but yes, I can play the ukulele. I enjoy it.
All right. Well, I'm putting the water resistant ukulele in the chat in case you want to get it, and that way you can write more songs in the shower.
Okay. That would be great. I'll keep you posted.
This is my goal interview was for this to be more like Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. And it's just been a little bit too serious, so I had to throw the waterproof ukulele in.
Yeah, that's good. Let's keep on that path. I think it's good.
Okay, cool. So sorry. So the songwriting process, lyrics first. You get inspiration when you're just doing other things that have nothing to do with songwriting, whether that's going for a run or taking a shower or whatever. So you've got an idea now. You've got some lyrics. Where do you go from there?
Yeah. At first, it was definitely just to my guitar, and then I think the reason like there's been such a big like instrumentation change for ITV, like I don't know, most recently has been because like I felt a little uninspired continuing to turn to the guitar all the time. There's only like so many chords I could, play with, and there were only so many like song structures that I felt like I would go to naturally with that instrument. So I would always go to the guitar, but most recently I've been just like kind of opening up like the like instrument library on like GarageBand or Logic and playing. That's it. Like if a line comes to me and it has a melody, that's even better. And I kind of usually like put something around that. But if it doesn't, it's that's really nice too, because then there's no rules around like what instrumentation should be there. It's just like a line. So yeah, I think that's usually the trick, is just maybe like finding a weird instrument and starting with that, and then like putting some cool stuff around it.
Interesting. Yeah. And again, it seems like you follow that same pattern where you go to something that is not necessarily related to your usual music pattern. If you're going to like a weird instrument, and then you get some inspiration from that. Exactly. And I think that the advice I would give you songwriters out there, and Rebecca, it sounds like you might concur, is just that a lot of times if you do feel writer's block, or you are looking for inspiration, go in the places where you wouldn't expect it and just live in that moment rather than thinking about it too hard.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think like that's probably something I've been learning too, is like music. I think I focused a lot on making it perfect. Perfect to me, obviously. I don't not like perfect universally. But like, I think that like there's like a lot of beauty in imperfect music. I think that's like the most human and it's the most relatable. So I think that kind of comes with not pushing it too hard. It's just like doing whatever, being super like fluid with it. So
that actually really ties in with the question that I was going to ask you too. Like, are you a perfectionist, or are you like on the far end where you're like, just put it out there? Which we've listened to your music, so we know that's not the case. But where would you put yourself on that scale?
I definitely think I'm a perfectionist. And it's like, it's the worst. It like is really stifling. So like there's definitely moments where if I'm being too much, I've like tried to learn where that line is for myself, where I know that I'm like, nobody's not that it doesn't matter like for something to be a certain way, but like, I don't know, that what I see in like it might not be what like translates for other people, and just trying to like get to the basics of it. And as long as it communicates the right way, whether it's like the visual stuff, like the videos or the songs. Yeah, I've been trying to find the balance for sure, but I definitely lean into a perfectionist mindset. So it's tricky.
Yeah. And I can understand that for sure. I mean, I feel the same way about my channel, where I want to have a tight control of everything that's put out, so that, everything that I feel like everything I do is a reflection of me. And I want to make sure that I'm communicating the message and who I am effectively through what I'm doing, which, it involves a lot of self-awareness, which can be really exhausting. And a lot of times I'm sure I personally just want to like throw something out there and be like, whatever.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's such a good point too. I'm sure you feel that way, and your channel's so much bigger than mine. So like, I can only imagine like that feeling being magnified. But I feel this way a lot about ITV. It's just like, it's a solo project. So when somebody has something negative to say, it doesn't ruin my day by any measure. It's definitely not something I can be like, well, they just don't like my band. It's like, they don't like it. It definitely feels like a personal thing versus I sometimes envy like people who are in a band where it's like people are criticizing like the work, which I think is still the case when that happens with ITV stuff. But it's definitely a different thing. It definitely feels like this is me in song. This is me in video. And yeah, for better or for worse. So yeah.
Gotcha. Nope. Totally empathize. Yeah. So question for you. You say you call your band I the Victor because you want to, it's kind of in some cases an exercise for you in trying to put the positive into situations and into life. Have you ever considered starting a follow-up band called I the Loser, and being like doing like emo heavy rock covers of your original songs?
I'm sad that I hadn't had that thought, but I'm really happy that you brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
I think there's an opportunity there for sure, and it's something I'll look into seriously.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's I appreciate you being open to suggestions. It shows a lot of
I would also welcome someone else to start I the Loser, and I would be in full support of their emo covers of I the Victor songs.
All right. That's good to know. Guys, get on that, please. Thank you. Also one other thing, something that, well, okay, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
I every time somebody comes on for one of these, I like to create some concept art for them.
Okay. Is that
say what?
Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah. I always wait for the right moment to see like what idea strikes.
Okay.
And I'm still, there's like one little piece here. I'm not very good at drawing musical notes, so I'm not really sure if this will translate.
Okay.
But I like to create an album cover for them, and just based on something that comes up organically in conversation. So this is kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
But, that can be the first cover of I the Loser. That
okay.
can be
Absolutely.
your first album cover.
The is really, I think that's the money right there. Is that like, I'm sad. Is that me?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely you. Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? You don't. Well, it kind of, I assume that you had flat ironed your hair too, for the sake of this band. I feel like that would be a good antithesis too.
Yeah, exactly. Everything should be the antithesis to I the Victor. So I think that's perfect. That cover looks great. If you could scan that, I think it'll do.
I'll do you one better. If you ever we ever meet in person, or you ever do a tour somewhere near where I am, I will bring you the hard copy.
Okay. That's all I can ask for. That would be great.
Perfect. Yeah. So now that we've got that out of the way, which is a very important thing to get out of the way, let's kind of, I want to ask one final question, and then I'll kind of skim through, see if anybody else has any questions they want to ask. So guys, if you have any final questions you want to ask, we're almost done here, okay? But the final question is, what other songwriting tips do you have for people? Now, let me set the stage here. Generally, the people who are, the songwriters who are watching this channel, a lot of them are going to be in high school. Some of them are going to be in college, and then a smaller amount will be beyond that. But for the most part, they're writing songs for the first time. So they're all together and unified in that. Some of them have been writing for a little while. Not a lot of them have published or put out music or anything like that, except for, maybe on SoundCloud, shared it with family and friends. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, maybe they know one instrument. They're pretty okay with singing, but they care a lot about the lyrics. So, and some of them want to create music for the sake of helping other people. A lot of times it's for self-expression. I wouldn't say that most everybody like wants to start a band or a project or something. But just for people in that situation, what kind of advice or encouragement would you give them about songwriting?
I think it would be, first and foremost, to just not push it. Go with like your first instinct on absolutely everything. If that's like a weird line in a song, like go for it. If it's a like weird instrumentation, or if it's half a song, whatever it is, it's okay to like just have like your starting point. I think that would be like the biggest advice, just to like go with your gut on all of it. Because it's your art. Nobody can take that away from you, and nobody like will do it the way that you'll do it. So I think it's fair game at that point to just do anything you want, anything that sounds good, anything that catches your ear, and then also to just like not get discouraged with it, because they really like if getting your music out there, or like being an artist is something that like you're wanting to do, like there's an audience for everything, like absolutely everything. So it's just about like keeping at something that you like, and as long as you like it, there's an audience, there's somebody else out there in the world who's gonna like it too. So just to try and alleviate the pressure that you might feel to like try and be like somebody else, or see what somebody else is doing and maybe feel discouraged because you don't know if you're gonna be as good as they are. But just like be fluid with yourself and like allow yourself the grace to just write what you would write. Yeah, I don't unfortunately like have too much advice on how to begin like a song, but I think just I think that all that stuff is like in your own like mind and heart, like what you're going through, you're like you can just pull from that lyrically or musically. And I think the beauty in songwriting is that yeah, you're allowed to do whatever you want. So especially right now, there's not a genre right now, and I think that's the cool thing. So you know, like 21 Pilots and other bands like that who are like real genre bending. It's nice. I think it takes away a lot of the rules. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I love the kind of what you're talking about, like the spirit of freedom, and you know, you're not trying to be like other people. You can just kind of do what you enjoy and what would you know, make you happy to write and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Salma pointed out, did you know this, that the guy who makes the music videos for 21 Pilots, or who has a big hand in them, he actually follows you on Twitter?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know him.
Oh, cool.
We met on the tour that we did last March, I think. It was actually this time last year. It was February. He was at the show we did in Columbus, and it was really cool to meet him. I was like in the back. We had just finished our set, and I think we were selling some merch, and I was like, that guy looks familiar. And then the band that we were on tour with, just they were buddies with him, and they like introduced us, and I was like, okay, this is the person I thought it was. That's amazing. So yeah, it was really cool to meet him. And yeah, I've messaged him every now and again, particularly when there's an amazing video that comes out, because he's so good at editing.
Sure.
And I'll be like, Mark, like that's amazing. But yeah, it's very cool to know him.
Very cool. Very cool. Maybe one day he'll be making music videos for you.
That's right. That's right. Who knows? It'd be very fun.
Okay, so we'll wrap up with a couple of quick questions here, and then we will talk about, you know, how people can go and get connected with your stuff. So we'll just do these questions a little more rapid fire. You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but okay. Panina C asks, are you going to drop an album soon?
Yes.
Cool.
How soon? TBA, but soon. Promise. And there's a lot. There's some stuff coming before that too. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
Panina also asks, what is your favorite song from Pause?
I really like Searching for You. And then the end song, Galaxy, that song personally means a lot to me. So those are probably, I like those, both of them.
All right. Carlos asks, did you train yourself to sing, or did you take vocal lessons?
My mom is a beautiful singer. She has such an amazing voice. And I think she just kind of like passed that on to my brother. And then I got like a little bit. So I played the guitar, and then I was like, I can sing a little. I'm just going to try. So yeah, no formal training.
Very cool. Very cool. What's your opinion on school? I don't know the context here.
Yeah.
This person is in 7th grade in Sweden, a lost soul, and does not like it.
Does not like school.
Does not like school.
I honestly like, I have like a range of opinions on it, but I think higher education is interesting. Depends what you want to do. I think obviously I've been like dealing with some stuff recently with school because of how expensive it is. Now that I'm out of it, like some of the like financial decisions I had to make as a student are just like mind-boggling. So it's tricky. I think it matters what you want to do, and I think as long as you're not hurting yourself by not going to school, depending on what like career path you're looking for, I wouldn't say you need to go. But if it does hurt you to not go, if you want to be a doctor, obviously you kind of like kind of have to. So yeah, I would do it based on necessity as far as higher education is concerned. High school and middle school are just, yeah.
They're kind of par for the course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this guy in 7th grade, man, it only gets better, sort of.
So
sometimes
true.
It gets worse, but and then it gets better.
That's right. By junior year, you're fun. High school it can be a lot of fun. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, I think we've got just a couple last ones here. So real quick, Aaron asks, how do you overcome insecurities in putting ideas to paper?
Oh, I think you got to put it there. Like, just do it. And if it sucks, at least you did it. Like, that's like probably the best way to handle it. Cause you can talk yourself out of something all day, but if you try it and then you don't like it, and at least you don't have to like deal with like what if I did this? What if I had done this differently? Like you can, yeah. So that's what I was.
And here is the last question. This one comes from Bo Rihanna. And I think it's a really good question, a really good place to end too. Do you think you're good enough to make music? I mean this in a nice way. I just always wonder if other musicians doubt everything and think they're trash also.
Oh, wow. Bo, I feel you. I think, am I good enough to make music? I don't know. I think that's like the beauty of it. I think a lot of musicians, especially like kind of at where I'm at with like, just kind of like an emerging, like up and coming, like you don't know what's next. And I think that's like the interesting part. I think it requires a lot of like thick skin and like just believe in yourself. I think that I'm good enough to make something that I like. Yeah. And I try to, and that's all I can really answer to on it. I don't know if I'm good enough to do XYZ, and I don't know like where the path is going to lead. And I think that's some of like the excitement of it. But I really believe in my songs, and as long as I keep believing in my songs, maybe I am good enough to do, whatever is.
Yeah, and whatever quote unquote good enough means, right? Like it's such a subjective thing, but it's still something. And I think I'm glad Bo asked, because it's just something that I think anybody struggles with. Like a lot of people struggle with feeling good enough to do this, and somebody who just goes full force and is like, I'm good enough for whatever I want to do, just the way I am. I don't have to get better or work hard at it or anything. We've got another problem. But I will say that we think that you're quote unquote good enough, whatever that means. And we're excited to see what happens and where you go.
I appreciate that so much. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like sometimes his stuff, I'm not sure if he's a songwriter or where he's at in his journey, but I definitely get it. I think that's like, there's a balance. Like I constantly, every song, once we have it recorded, I take a week and I'm like, I can't believe I suck. Like, I can't believe it's the worst song. And I worked so hard on it and it's the worst. So yeah, I think it's just like a constant like pendulum. So yeah, I think everybody's good enough for exactly what they believe they're good enough for.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, if people want to find out more about your music and you, I'll put all this stuff in the description, but where should they go for now?
I feel like I am the most active on Instagram. I just love Insta. So it's, my Instagram is @IamITheVictor. And yeah, come say hi on there. I'm also on Twitter a bunch, and yeah, I'm also on Facebook and stuff. And then all the music is on Spotify. And I'm not sure, I can like put a comment in the chat or something, but we just are going to keep releasing videos along with every song. So you can check out the I The Victor YouTube channel for visuals to everything that's on Spotify.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, well, I will go ahead and put those all down below, and everybody can check those out. And guys, be sure to go and check out I The Victor, check out the music videos, check out the songs, check out all of that good stuff. And And thanks everybody for coming. Thanks so much for Rebecca for being here. Tabby, to answer your question, the Unicorn King, I've talked to him. He wholeheartedly approves of Rebecca and I, the Victor. Is a big fan, probably a bigger fan than any of you guys. You don't know what it means to be a fan. No, I'm just kidding. But thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.
And talk to you guys next time.